Hello friends, Techman Pat here. Thanks for jumping in. Today we are talking about the NBN, and remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I not only do NBN news, but I also do tech and gadget reviews, so please stay tuned for that. And obviously if you're liking it, feel free to also let me know if you don't like it, if you don't agree with my opinion or at least the news that I'm showing today. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. So, okay. Here we go. The election is weeks away and the NBN is going to play a pretty major part because in many ways a lot of people have been cut by its poor rollout so far. In 2009, then the Labour government promised a fast national broadband network, NBN, with optical cables directly to people's homes and businesses. And unfortunately, we didn't actually get this. So instead, we ended up with a mix of technologies, including optical fiber, copper wires, hybrid fiber coaxial, which is the HFC network that you might be aware of or not, fixed wireless, and satellite. And to be honest, a lot more headaches. I mean, the ADSL days were pretty simple. So what have we got so far? Well, fiber to the node is about 36% of all connections, HFC is 22%, fiber to the premises is 17% of all connections, and that kind of includes fiber to the curb because fiber to the curb is pretty much like fiber to the premises, except like maybe 2-3 meters from your home you have that cable, that copper cable, and speeds are still really good as you would have fiber to the premises. Now, fixed wireless connections are about 5% and satellite is about 3%. It's at 35-36% where a lot of the problems come from, especially in speed, as the HFC can manage these speeds very well even at long distances. Copper, unfortunately, non-HFC cables does not do this very well. Satellite and wireless are a much bigger issue, unfortunately, just because of the range or the distance or even the line of sight could damage your speeds. And of course, if the actual company, or rather NBN Co or the ISP, do not have enough bandwidth to support these people, which we have talked about in a previous video of mine, I'll link that below, you will not get the speeds that are advertised. So here's the thing, every year the amount of internet data Australians consume increases by nearly 30%. And last year the average home had nearly 17 devices connected to the internet. And as more and more Internet of Things come out on the market, this number will almost double by next year. Think smart fridges, smart ovens, and all your little gadgets that you might wear. An Apple Watch, for example, needs connection to your Wi-Fi device. That is another item on your home network. Next year, the NBN is supposed to be completed, but less than 1 in 4 of fiber to the node connections will be capable of achieving the top speeds, making the top-end internet plans kind of redundant, because you've got people who are willing to spend the money to get the highest plans, but you can't provide that speed, so they're not going to buy it because you'd hope these consumers aren't that stupid. Anyway, as discussed in a previous video about the NBN's first CEO, Michael Quingley still believes that a fiber optic network is inevitable, and I completely agree. So I want to share a couple of things that were aired today, or basically Tuesday, on ABC's 7:30 program. So Mr. Quingley said, and I'm quoting here, "The one thing we've seen over decades is the demand for speed has increased. The demand on downloads has increased." And you kind of have to understand the fact that everything is going digital. All your movies, Netflix, they're all through the internet. You don't really get it through cable, and honestly, who has Foxtel? He continued, "Even 4K video hasn't penetrated to a large extent yet. The bandwidth you need for 4K is obviously much greater than in high definition video. In fact, this video that you're watching right now is 4K. And if you can't see it in 4K on your current internet connection, just flick it and see how slow it loads. That's a pretty good test." I need to stop putting in my comments in between. So he finished off by saying all these things put demands on the broadband network, and they still continue to put demands on the network. And Quingley is not wrong. I have said this in the past, and I'll bring it up again. NBN is now such a large part of everyday life in Australia that it has a huge effect on things like home sales and the reason to buy a house in a certain area. I know it was for me, and I know I'm not the only person anymore that decides the purchase of their home in what area it is in, also including the fact that if there is NBN and what kind of connection. People are a lot more educated now, they'll understand a lot more about the internet, and they do want fast internet. There are also a lot of people who run a business from home, and I don't run a business from home, but man, I play a lot of video games and I really want fast internet. Anyway, we have some folks in the government who don't understand how important this backbone infrastructure project has become. The Communications Minister, Mitch Fifield, is defending the multi-technology mix and its rollout. He said to 730, NBN is fit for purpose. But there's no technology network that's set in stone. You always need upgrade paths, and the NBN is looking at those. Now, look, fiber is by far the one cable type that has not been able to be ousted by something else. It has upgradability because all you have to change is the device at each end and not the actual cable. You don't have to rip up those underground cables. And really, honestly, is there anything faster than light right now in our universe? He continued, it's designed to meet the needs that people have. It's doing that, and it's something that will continually upgrade to make sure that it will keep pace with needs as they evolve. Now, let's have a look at that. A lot of countries need a great communication system, and if the needs evolve, you'll upgrade it. The problem is we're so far behind now that the only way to keep up is to skip this multi-technology mix that other countries are doing and go straight to fiber. So, Senator Fifield said that under Coalition's plan, everyone will have access to fast broadband by 2020. He then said the real digital divide is between those who have the NBN and those who don't have the NBN, which is why we wanted to complete the NBN as soon as we could. 90% of people on a fixed line network, the fixed line footprint, will be able to get speeds of 50 megabits per second or more, and 75% of people will be able to get speeds of 100 megabits per second. You only need 5 megabits per second to watch high definition on Netflix. End of quote. Now, we've heard something similar before when Bill Gates came out and do you really need X amount of RAM? And we all know that that turned out to be absolute crap, and we do need a lot more RAM. In fact, we need a whole bunch of RAM, and in fact, you can probably download RAM from the internet. Memes aside, it's not like our internet is that bad that we can't watch Netflix. In fact, I've seen it work with 1 megabit. But good luck if your kids start watching PewDiePie on YouTube. There will be no Netflix for you. Now, Labour's communications spokeswoman Michelle Rowland told 730 Labour is taking a very responsible approach. We made it very clear that there is no quick fix to 6 years of vandalism by this government, and we will be informed, as we always said, by the realities on the ground. We need to examine in the immediate term that we can do in terms of having, for example, a pathway to get more fiber, but in the long term also recognizing that we need to get more Australians valuing broadband and online, and currently that is not happening under the second rate on NBN. And she's quite correct, because it comes back to basically this digital divide of people who are in the know and know the value of it, and those people who just don't care. And let me know what you guys, do you just want something that works, or do you kind of understand what's going on and kind of can fathom why the NBN is such a mess? And even on the other side, please let me know, because this is a conversation for all of Australia, and unfortunately it is going to affect the next election quite radically. As I mentioned in a previous video, Mike Quinley has said, and seems to be sticking to his guns, that if Labour's original fibre to the premises plan had been continued, it would be almost complete and it would have cost less than the current network, which there was the $45 billion cost, but now it's stretched out to $51 billion, which is the multi-technology mix. Now, he said to 730, it would have taken a lot longer, and I don't dispute that, and I certainly wouldn't have taken 6 to 8 years longer. Now, a little back and forth later, Senator Fifield chimed in and said, what we have done under this government is what the rest of the world does, and that is use a range of technologies to see fast broadband rolled out faster and at a lower cost. That's the approach in Europe, that's the approach in the United States. They use a range of technologies. By taking this approach, NBN will be completed by 2020, which is 6 to 8 years sooner than otherwise would have been the case, and $30 billion less. Mr. Quigley maintains the government has inflated the cost of completing the network. He has said on that interview that is completely wrong. These numbers are based on a non-continuation of the fiber to the premise program, but a restart. It uses completely erroneous costs for the fiber to the premises. In the rest of the world, cost for fiber to the premises have come down dramatically. Senator Fifield disagrees. You only get the full national benefit of fast broadband when everyone has it. Under us, they'll have it sooner, he said. So there you have it, the back and forth that is politics. The NBN is still nowhere near full completion, let alone reliability. And at this point, promises feel kind of empty. We know there are other issues facing Australia, but the NBN has grown to be a rather large footnote in the overall bill, or rather the budget, or actually Australia's kind of nationwide list of problems. Which side do you think will push the NBN forward in a positive future? I heard today on the radio Labor is poised to win, so who knows? Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and hopefully we can have an absolute civil discussion. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. Please check out some of my other videos about the NBN. I'm sure you'll be able to learn a whole bunch of stuff of where we are today and where we have come from. Thanks, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another video.